on now.
Welcome. You've arrived at Gentle Yoga with Sarah Little, and I've got Lance here as my yoga model.
Hello.
Yeah, here we are. Okay, so today we're going to be doing some work with our foot foundations. There's my strong man. Yeah. Doing our foot foundation stuff and working it towards back bends. So you're going to need, hello, good morning. You're going to need some sort of towel. We're going to use a towel space, and we're going to use it in a variety of ways. So make sure that you have some sort of towel. Hand this one off. And let's go ahead and lie down on our backs today.
Okay.
So I know, start. I've got my towel folded in long quarters here, and I'm going to roll from the folded edge to the open edge. And then I'm going to lie down with my chest lifted. So I'm going to get in this space where you can see. This is going to run just below my shoulder blade line. So if you've got a bra strap on, that's a great cheat. If you're not wearing a bra strap, think about the line of your pectoral muscles, your nipples. You want to line up with that. Lance is going to think about that for a moment. Okay. So, it's a good male measure. It's not such a good female measure. Right there. So we get that lined up, and you may want your head to come to a second towel. I like to take my feet as wide as the mat and let the knees fall towards one another. And then let yourself feel the ground beneath you. Feel it on the soles of your feet. Feel the way your legs are touching one another at the space of the knees. Feel your bottom landing on the floor. And then we're going to feel this arc line of the spine, and hopefully your shoulders are beginning to fall towards the floor. So a lot of back bending is about echoing through the curve of the rib cage. But we're going to be doing a lot of our focus into how our feet are lining up, how our legs are supporting us. So as we creep towards the shoulder portion of this week, that we'll be working towards these nice open leg spaces so that we can come into a deeper back bend. Let's do a few counted breaths, empty out all the way. Fill up for 1, 2, 3, and let go 3, 2, 1. Fill up for 1, 2, 3, and let go 3, 2, 1. Keep going in that rhythm. Maybe you take it to 4, maybe you back down to 2. As you're breathing, I really want you to think about the breath staying at the same level of in and out all the way through that count. So when we're doing a counted breath, we don't want to have that 1 be all of the air, and then we're sort of just trying to eke more in through 2 and 3. We want to have an even amount of airflow all the way to the top of 3, and then an even amount out all the way to the bottom of 1. So think about that. Stop your counting for a moment. Let yourself take a normal breath. Some teachers use the analogy of sipping through a straw, that you want to have an even amount of liquid coming at you. It's the same with the breath. So we're going to go ahead and we'll do about 5 and a 3 count, and we may extend it beyond. Exhale, empty out all the way. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. And then let's try a little bit longer, empty. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. Just see where you're at. Sometimes when we're playing with the breath, those initial attempts are a little bit gaspy or uncomfortable or feel grabby. And so just notice if that's happening as part of your practice and see what you can do to release over time. So all of yoga is a practice that happens over time, that none of it do we come to it and we've got it nailed, that it's an evolution. All right, bring your feet closer to each other, and then I'm going to roll to the right because I've got space to the right, but go in the direction that works for your body. Ease yourself around, press down into the floor, and come on up to a seat. Most of backbending happens in the strength of the legs and actually in the openness of the thighs. So we're going to be working that space today. But let's start with a little bit of twisting here. So bring your hands back behind you. You can sit down on your towel or not. Bring your hands back behind and drop the knees over to the right. And then inhale them up and drop them over to the left. So we'll come side to side. Loosening up. So the hips are pretty intricate in all of the different lines that they go in because it's a joint that circumducts. It goes all the way around. And so therefore the lines in the hips are more exciting. So when we think, oh yeah, in a back bend, I've just got to open up the fronts of my thighs. Yes, and because the whole thing, it goes all the way around. And so there are lines that are going to impede us all the way around. Inhaling up and exhaling over. Let's go over one more time left and then come up, and we're going to take them the knees over to the right and then walk yourself closer in. So you're just feeling the lines in the legs, whether you've been hiking or biking or sitting a lot on Zoom calls, just noticing what the leg message is. Ease back out, lift your knees up and go over to the other side, and then walk your hands in closer to your bottom so you're coming up a little higher, and just feel. So as I'm here, I'm noticing my right hip is wanting to roll away from the floor, so I'm going to drop that space back down. Take a few breaths. And then let's ease up. And we're going to play into, I'm just going to turn to the side here. We're going to play into a little bit of the work that the legs are going to do. So my hands are back behind me. My fingertips are towards my butt, but there is no particular magic in that. If you want to roll your fingertips away or out to the sides, any of those are fine, okay? Roll the shoulders back because that is part of the back bending work. And then bring your feet to the floor. And think about, your feet are really the place that we're moving from. So let's place the heels down, lift the toes up, and pull in. So you feel the backs of your legs come alive. Then settle the tops or the rest of the feet to the floor. Press down and inhale, lift your hips up. And they may lift up pretty far, or they may just lift up just a little way. So we're going to go through a couple of those. Inhale and lift up. Exhale and lower down. Inhale and lift up. Exhale and lower down. Inhale and lift up. Exhale and lower down. And then walk your hands towards your shins.
and just challenge that moment. So grab the shins, roll the shoulders back, lift the center of the chest. See if you can make your shoulders a little playful here, because a lot of that back bending does happen higher in the spine, but we want to think about the legs being really secure. Okay. We're going to come back to this space, and this time we're going to come down to our elbows. So bring yourself down, elbows towards the floor, roll the shoulders back. So you want to make sure you're not slouching into this space. So you're really rolling the shoulders back. And then lift your toes up again and place your heels. So push your heels down. Drag your bottom towards your heels as you settle your toes down. Keep the feet really on the floor. Pull back towards your bottom. Lift your hips up. Exhale, settle. See if you can keep your gaze looking through your knees. Inhale, lift your hips up. Exhale, settle down. Inhale, lift your hips up. Exhale, settle down. 2 more. Lift up and settle. Lift up and settle. And let's come all the way down just to give the shoulders a bit of a release here. Reach out and away. And then let's cross right arm underneath left and let your fingertips dangle towards your shoulders. Few breaths. Open your arms out wide. This time, right arm's coming on top. Let your fingers dangle towards your shoulders. Release your arms. Draw your knees in towards your chest and rock a little bit side to side on the low back space. We're going to do a little bit of strengthening. I know it's not a core day, but it is a leg day. And I want to do a little bit of strengthening through the lines of action in the legs. So we'll circling around now and circle the other way. Place the feet on the floor and think about that heel placement that we did earlier. Tip your toes up, push your heels down, grow the toes to the floor, but really keep that action of feeling like you're sliding your tailbone towards your bottom. Bring your right knee into your chest, kick the right leg towards the ceiling. As you exhale, lower the right leg towards the floor. You're going to hover it over the floor. Continue to reach the tailbone long. Draw your low ribs down. Maybe you reach your arms over your head. That's the extra bonus sauce, okay? Inhale, bring the leg back up. Exhale, lower, and take 3 breaths. Keep rolling the top of your pelvis down towards the floor, the bottom of the rib cage down towards the floor. So we're strengthening along the front line of the leg and up into the belly. Exhale, up. Inhale here. Exhale, down. Take a few breaths. Thinking consciously about drawing the low ribs down towards the floor, the top of the pelvis down, and really gathering towards the belly button. Bring the leg up. And settle the right foot towards the floor. Left leg's going to come up towards the ceiling. You can have your hands by your sides. Kick out through the heel. Root the outer left hip away. Now think about the top of the pelvis moving down, the bottom of the rib cage moving down. So that's going to bring us together at the line of the abdominal muscles. Maybe your arms go overhead, maybe not. Inhale where you're at. Exhale, lower your left heel, so it's just floating over the floor. Then you imagine kicking up a little bit, so you can keep the top of the pelvis going down and the bottom of the ribs. And if you can, work for those slow, steady inhales and exhales, the same amount of air moving at the end of the breath as at the beginning of the breath. Bring the leg up. Ooh. Exhale, lower down. Fasten that top of the pelvis down, base of the rib cage. Exhale up. Inhale here, maybe you need a little bend and extend. Exhale, release down. So we're bringing action into the hip flexors, which are going to have to stretch, come on up as we come into more back bends. Right now, I want you to grab your towel that you rolled earlier, and I want you to slide it between your knees, okay? So we're going to take a few bridge poses with the knees hugging this blanket. You can do robot arms, I like that. Fingertips up towards the sky. It helps me get the whole length of the upper arm bone down. Elbows down, roll the shoulders into the earth. Squeeze the towel between your knees. Inhale, lift your hips up. And exhale and release down. Inhale, lift your hips up. Exhale, release down. Inhale, lift your hips up. Lower slightly so you can pull the tailbone through the heels and then lift a little higher once you've established that space. See if you can feel length happening from the top of the pelvis through the knees. Push down to those feet, pull the heels back towards you, reach your knees away, and then draw your hips towards your face. Exhale and release down. Remove your towel. Let your knees go off to one side. I'm going right. Lance is going left because we're sort of opposite here. And just let yourself release from your armpit all the way through your knee. So acknowledging that when we go towards back bends, there's a using of the muscles, a tensing of the muscles to lift. But we also want to come back into that space of release and relax so that we're not walking around with that tension during our day. Inhale, come up. Exhale, go over to the other side. Really ground your shoulder that your knees are moving away from. And let yourself feel the breath through the armpit, through the side of the ribs, the side of the belly, through the pelvis, through the top of the thigh. And come back to those unhurried breaths. Press down into your feet, lift your knees up, come back to neutral, slide your blanket. We're going to go one more time in the bridge pose space. Slide your blanket back between your knees, hug, press your elbows down, and with that, work your shoulders underneath you. So the whole upper arm bone is pressing down into the earth. Squeeze the towel, inhale, lift up. Release your bottom down slightly. So you're coming down out of that highest height. Press your feet into the floor. Then scoot your tailbone through your knees and lift your hips higher. At this point, you think you can let your pelvis rock forward. You can let yourself move towards your knees. And then back your hips up. So you're actually moving into your upper back space here. You want to make sure you're not feeling any crunching through the lumbar curve, through the space from your butt to your rib cage. You want to make sure that that feels like a really long line of engagement as opposed to a shortening. Release down. Let's take 3 cycles of windshield wipers, just letting the knees go one side and inhaling and coming up and exhaling, going to the other side. And inhaling and coming up, and exhaling, and inhaling, and exhaling. And then follow yourself around coming on up to a seat and then taking your towel with you as we come up to standing. So a lot of the time when we come into back bends, the strength of the bottom becomes a challenge point, okay? And the weakness of the inner thighs is additionally sort of those two things are warring, that we tend to be strong in the butt and weak in the inner thigh. So we're going to do some work today to gather in and stretch the buttocks and strengthen the inner thighs so that when we move back, we're coming from a stable position. Throw your towel between your thighs. And if you discover it's too narrow, so this mine may be a little bit too narrow to really be able to squeeze, you can unroll your towel, fold it another time lengthwise, and then roll again. So you have a fatter roll. So it's all in the interest of, a prop-free space. Okay, hands on the hips, and I'm going to go sideways on this because I want you to see what happens here. Hands on your hips, and maybe I'll come forward so Lance can see too. The inner groins are going to go back, yes. So we're squeezing the inner thighs, we're taking the inner groins back. But then you see this is taking me into a lot of lumbar curve, right? It looks like I'm wearing high heels. So I want to think about squeezing the inner groin, taking the tailbone down as I lift the low belly space up. So that's going to bring length into the inner thigh space. So let's all try that together. Go ahead and send your booty back. You can soften your knees, send your booty back, get that space. Hug the blanket, the towel, squeeze it back behind you, and then lift. Low belly up, tailbone down. So you're zipping your pants up. And then notice if your rib cage also shifted forward. So you want to see if you can draw the rib cage back as well. And then we're going to stand here just putting this imprint into the body of the inner groins coming together, moving back, tailbone drawing down, getting all this length in the front of the body while maintaining length in the back body, which is a big part of back bending. Inhale, reach your arms right in front of you. Exhale, draw your shoulder blades onto your back. Inhale, press your pinky fingers down like you're karate chopping. So it's an isometric, so you're not actually going anywhere. But we're pressing down. Take those low ribs back, lift the center of the chest. Exhale and settle down into a bit of a seat. So now we're going to do a little thigh burn moment, right? Send your booty back a little bit more. Draw the low belly space up. Lift the center of the chest. We're going to stay for 3 more really slow breaths. On your next inhalation, stand up. We're getting some good knee creaking around here. All right, and then let's release the towel for a moment. And see if you can find those actions without the towel there. So I like to practice with my feet about hip distance. It's about the width of 2 fists. But you can practice in your body. Some people like to really bring things together. You got to make sure that that doesn't lead you sort of into this flop forward, right? If you're bringing your feet all the way together. And some of us need more space yet. So be a little bit discerning in what you need for your body. I'm going to do hip distance. I'm going to spread out my toes. Make sure the outside edges are parallel to the outside edges of the mat. Hug your inner thighs towards each other. So it's an isometric. Imagine that towel is there. And then think inner groins go back, tailbone goes down, low belly goes up, ribs shift back, reach your arms down by your side. So we're in mountain pose, Tadasana. You should really feel muscular action in the fronts of the thighs. This isn't just like a standing around, right? This is I am here. I am inhabiting my entire amazing body. Notice if you're rolling to the outsides or the insides of your feet. See if you can find the whole footprint. Reach your arms up on your inhale. Exhale and settle down into your Utkatasana, your awkward seat. As you're going, inner groins are dropping down, belly is lifting up, rib cage shifts back. Think about moving your bum back a little bit more and continuing that lift of the belly as you take the tail down. On your next inhale, stand up, release your legs, and you may need a little kick out, right? A little moment of wobble. We're going to take now this idea of drawing into a standing balance. So I'm going to give Lance some space in the view if he wants it. Let's start with the left foot. Lift your left toes up, bend the left knee slightly, settle the left toes towards the floor. And I want you to think about that grip back that we did when we were in bridge pose. So press down and grip back. Think about the heel and the sit bone getting towards each other, even as the leg is really engaged. So you want to look down. If you're wearing clothing that is hugging your body, you really want to see the muscles engaged there. Then come up on your right toes, and let's just turn that right knee out a little bit. You may notice a little bit of a hip dash off to the left. So we're going to think about hugging the inner thighs in and taking the tail down, just like we did in that chair pose. Reach your arms out. Maybe you take cactus. Think ribs back, lift the center of your chest. The temptation is going to be to do a thrust, do a pelvic thrust here. And I want you to think about really drawing the inner groins back as you're broadening that right leg out to the right. Inhale where you are. And then exhale, release your arms, turn your right toes forward. Parallel the outside edge of your right foot with the outside edge of the mat. Bend into the knee a bit so you can get that sense of the quadricep really lifting up. Turn your left toes out. Let's think inner groins back, tailbone down, even as you broaden the knee to the left. And make sure you're not doing that little hip check, right? We want to keep the hip over the ankle joint. Reach your arms out to the sides and then check in with what's going on higher. We want to have that sense of the tailbone moving down, low ribs going back, lifting the center of the chest. Release your arms down, turn your left toes forward. Let's climb that a little higher. So turn the left toes forward, make that leg really strong and active, and then if you can, move your right foot to your left calf. Do that. If it's too much, come back down to tripod with the toes on the earth. I'm looking at a tripod as I'm talking about tripods. It's a whole kismet moment. Then in this balance, see if you can bend the standing leg. So you can turn those inner groins back behind you. Imagine you're hugging the towel. Drop the tailbone down. Lift the low belly space. Maybe the arms reach all the way up this time, or maybe you bend at the elbows. Woo. It helps to focus on something that's not going to move anytime soon. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release your arms. Draw your right knee forward. Settle the right foot to the floor. Outside edge of the foot, parallel. Bend into that knee. Re-extend the leg. Lift your left foot off. Place it on your calf. Please, no pressure on your knees. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and bend in again. Think about taking the inner groin space back as I broaden the left knee. It may turn me. I'm going to try to keep it from turning me. So I'm pushing the right buttock forward as I take the left knee open. Whoo, and tip, evidently. Reach your arms up or bend the elbows. You can always take a wall space. Release your arms, bring your left knee forward, settle your left foot towards the floor. I want to do, so this has been strengthening work for the quads. I want to do some stretching out work in the quads, and that requires that we go into some lunges. It doesn't require, it's easiest for me in lunges. So let's take some of those. Go ahead and kick your things off to the side so you've got space. I'm going to come into the view with Lance here. Hands on your hips, inhale. Exhale, let's take the right foot back. Right toes tuck under, bend your back knee and do that same. Adduction, draw your inner thighs together, take your tailbone down, lift your low belly. Exhale, step forward. Inhale, tall. Exhale, left foot back. Bend the left knee. Hug the inner thighs together, take the tailbone down, lift the low belly up. Exhale, step forward. So we'll go back and forth a couple of times and then we'll find a little bit more action. Right foot back, bend the right knee, gather inner thighs, tip the tail down. Next exhalation, move forward. Inhale, tall. Exhale, left foot, left knee bends. Hug everything together. Exhale, step. One more time quickly. Right foot back. Bend the knee, hug right to left, settle the pelvis, step forward, left foot back, bend the left knee, exhale, step forward. So we're going to refine now, so we're going to come into a little bit more steadiness and really work that right leg. Right foot back, bend your right knee. We're not going to keep the right knee bent this time. I want you to take your hands to your forward thigh and just lean in here, okay? Hug, right hip forward, left hip back. Kick your right leg straight. So we're getting a stretch across the front of the right thigh. Go ahead and bend the knee. Inhale, take the leg straight. Bend the knee. Inhale, take the leg straight. Now, walk your hands up your thigh. Maybe actually bring your left heel of the left hand into the left hip crease. And then we're going to soften the right knee slightly so we can take the tailbone down, lift the low belly, stay deep in this left hip as you kick your right leg towards straight. And for me, I get lots of sensation across the front of the right thigh, into my belly space. I'm going to add a reach of the right arm. Exhale, release your hands together and step forward. Hold. Ground your feet. Gaze at the time. Notice just that's not required. The gazing at the time isn't required. Inhale where you are. Exhale, left foot back. Lean forward, hands on your right thigh. Bend into your back knee. Draw your right hip back, left hip forward, straighten the left leg. Bend into the knee. Straighten the left leg. Bend into the back knee. Straighten the left leg. And then we're going to climb a little higher. So the heel of the right hand is going into the hip crease. You're going to push down into that space. Bend the back knee, drop the tailbone down. So I'm really thinking about lengthening the front of the belly as I'm lengthening the back body. Keep that space in the pelvis as I take the left leg towards straighter, maybe all the way straight. Left arm lifts up. And keep pressing down into your right thigh. So you're peeling your pelvis off of the front of your thigh. Inhale. Exhale, step forward. Ground down. Let's take a little lateral movement. just get into the side bodies a bit. So turn towards the long edge of your mat and step your feet wide. Think about, all those hip checking moments. Even here, we're drawing the inner groin space back and taking the tailbone down. So find those. I find it's useful to have that hug of the feet towards each other. I'm going to go ahead and turn my left foot out first. Turn those left toes out. Now re-hug the heels towards each other. You may notice that your right hip is sort of jutting forward. So think about the right inner groin, moving back. Draw up from the floor on the right side, and we're going to reach out with the left hand down the leg somewhere. Right arm can lift up or can stay on your hip. Bend your knee. Inhale, draw yourself upright. Turn those left toes forward. Turn your right toes out. As you turn the right toes out, notice if your left hip did a little forward movement, right? We want to think about, maybe even you lean forward. Take both sets of inner groins back. Then hug, come upright. We're going to reach out with the right arm, down the right leg. Left hand can stay on the hip, or it might reach up towards the sky. Roll the shoulders back. Get long from your left heel through your left shoulder. Bend your forward knee. Inhale, come upright, turn your toes. We're going to go a second time with a look towards taking the arm long overhead, because I want to just get a little bit more side body stuff going on here. Turn your left toes out, and let's bend into the left knee for a moment and re-extend, just so you're feeling the action of the leg. As you're re-extending, really pull back up. Bend into the knee. Think about that heel and sit bone coming towards each other. And then extend the leg. Hug towards one another. Inner groins back, tailbone down. Reach the arms wide. Left hand is going to come to the left thigh. Maybe it comes lower. Then I want you to take your right arm. Reach straight up towards the ceiling. 180 in the shoulders. And then sneak overhead. Just enough so that you're feeling a lot of stretch on the right side body. Bend your knee. Inhale, draw yourself back upright. Release your hands down. Left toes turn forward. Right toes turn out. Feel this sort of flip forward, right? We want to take the inner groins back, tailbone down. And when we do that, sometimes it messes with the angle of the knee. So make sure that your knee is still headed towards those second, third toe space. Sweep the arms out. Right hand is going to trail down the right leg. And then the left arm is just going to go over the head enough so that you feel a big stretch across the left side body. Inhale, bring yourself back. Turn your toes forward, heel toe, or hop things together. I always like to imagine Gail in class hopping her feet together. Okay. Reground. So we've done a little bit more of that external rotation. So we're going to take our tree pose again. And maybe you move the foot higher. Maybe you say, hey, tripod's my spot, calf is my spot, okay? Think about all the work that we've been doing in the legs to make action happen in the thigh. So we're going to move weight into the left foot first. Fan the left toes. Move your foot down into the floor. Make sure you're mostly parallel to the outside edge of the mat. Bend into the knee. Calf is pushing forward. Quad is drawing up and back. And you only want to go as far as you can still feel that action. Bring your right knee up as high as you can. For me, I can grab that ankle. For some, that's not going to happen. And then I can place the foot in the groin. If it's too high, you come lower. Below your knee, please. Okay? Push your right foot firmly into your left leg firmly into the right. Check in, make sure you're not letting your hips do funny things. You know, no sassy tube there in the hips. Then let's reach the arms up. Maybe the palms press for a moment. Then I want everybody to bend the elbows, hug the inner thighs towards each other, draw the shoulder blades onto the back, and see if you can look up. Lifting the chest, finding a little bit of back bend in the tree. Reach up, settle your hands towards your heart, bring your right foot forward, settle the right foot towards the floor. And let's go into it, right? So give yourself time. Find that outside edge of the foot parallel. Lifting the toes. Moving the energy of the calf muscles forward as you draw the energy of the quadriceps up and back. Inner groins go back. Float your left knee as high as you can get it. Maybe you grab the ankle and place the foot. Maybe you use your foot by itself. Push foot into leg, leg back into foot. Check for sassitude here in your hips. Drawing inner thighs together, tail down. Reach your arms up. Maybe the palms touch. Inhale. Exhale, bend your elbows. Shrug your shoulder blades down. Draw your navel point in. And then see if you can gaze up, lifting the center of your chest up towards the ceiling. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands back towards your hips. Bring your left foot forward and settle your left foot towards the earth. Check in. In balancing moments, we are bringing the energy higher in the body, but we're always needing to remember to come back down towards the earth, to replant ourselves. So go ahead and send your toes into the floor and down into the earth. Re-engage with your calf muscles. Re-engage with your quadriceps. Lengthen across the front of the belly. All right. Let your eyes come open, and we're going to come over now onto our belly. So come down on your mat onto your belly. 11:44 says my clock. Okay. So as you come down, if you have discomfort because you're pressing down into the floor and it doesn't feel good on your pelvis, you can always take a blanket or a towel. And I don't like a lot of bulk there, but sometimes a little bit of bulk for the pelvis makes those bones a little happier. Okay? Now we're gonna work the legs, but set your shoulders. So right now the temptation is to let the shoulders really draw up towards the ears. I want you to press down into your elbows, draw your shoulder blades down your back and tone your navel point. Bend your right knee, flex your right foot, reach your left leg back, kick your right leg towards the sky. Settle down, right leg goes long, press the top of the right foot down, bend your left knee, inhale. As you exhale, kick towards the sky. So you're taking your left knee off of the earth. Lower down, extend. Bend your right knee, firm that ankle, push your left foot down, lift your right knee up, settle it down, top of the foot towards the floor. Bend your left knee, press your right foot down, lift your left knee off, settle down. One more time, either side. Bend the right knee, Lift the right knee up. Notice the knee wants to go out to the right. Yes, we want to pull the knees towards each other. Think about those inner groins going up, 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 and back. Roll your shoulder blades. Don't drop your head. Lift, 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 and settle down. One more, left side. Bend. There's that hug. Heel towards sit bone. Roll the shoulders back. Tone the navel point. Lift the knee off. See if you can find that length. Front of the belly, low back getting longer as you take that knee higher. And then settle down. Ooh, bend, extend your legs, lower your elbows, rest your forehead on your hands. Let's give ourselves a little bit more of a passive stretch in this place. So we're still looking to target the fronts of the thighs, but we want to do it in such a way that it's not causing, that we're not having so much muscular action. So here, go ahead and lift your head up for a moment. Place your left hand down in front of you. Take your right hand back behind and see if you can grab the top of your right foot. Yeah. And then lower your forehead back towards the earth. Play with the angle of your tailbone. So flip your bum up towards the ceiling and then drag your tailbone towards your knees. Inhale, flip your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Exhale, drag your tailbone towards your knees. Inhale, flip your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Exhale, drag your tailbone towards your knees. Keep that space. So that's that same zip up space we've been doing before. Keep rolling the tailbone down, pressing your knee away and dragging your foot towards you. And then release your shoulders. We're going to stay here and breathe about 5 times. All right, you're going to lift your head up, release your right hand, try not to let your right foot sling towards the floor, let it slowly lower. Bring your right hand in front of you. Roll the shoulders back for a moment, bend your left knee, reach back with your left hand and see if you can capture the top of your left foot. And then you're just going to slowly take your forehead back towards your wrist, okay? Now play with the angle of the tailbone. Flip it up towards the ceiling and then draw it down towards your heel. Flip it up towards the ceiling and drop it down towards your heel. Flip it up towards the ceiling. Drop it down towards the heel. Reach your right foot back a little bit more and walk your left knee in towards you. Towards your right. So the knees are coming towards each other. Press the knee down, drag the tailbone, and just allow yourself to breathe here, letting gravity and the strength of the left arm stretch out the front of the left thigh. Release your left hand. Keep your left heel towards your bottom as long as you can and then slowly lower the foot towards the floor. Pause, let things go a little soft. Go ahead and lift yourself up, and we're going to go ahead and roll over onto the back. Getting cozy on our image again here. Okay. Draw your right knee in towards your chest. Lower your knee, letting your elbows dangle towards the floor, broadening your collarbones. And let's cross right ankle over left thigh. Notice any sort of shifting to the right or shifting to the left, and see if you can reach the right knee away as you keep the pelvis even towards the floor. We're going to bring, inhale, lift the hips up. Exhale, settle towards the earth. Inhale, lift the hips up. See how your foundation is. You can stay right here, or you can start to tip the right knee up. Notice as we do that, the right hip wants to come high. So you can keep the right hip even with the left and start to kick the right leg up towards the ceiling. And draw your right knee in, cross your right ankle over your left thigh, lower yourself down, and then uncross the leg, settle towards the floor. Let your knees fall in towards each other and just pause. Notice any sensation running along the outsides of your legs, in your belly, in your chest, in your throat. Bring your elbows back to the floor beside your rib cage. Press down and roll. Right shoulder under, left shoulder under. So we've got this whole upper arm bone settling down. Then bring your left knee into your chest. Whoops, we forgot to do the hug, so we're going to have to let go of those arm bones. We'll come back to them. Grab right below your left knee and drag down. You can flex and point the toe. See if that gives you different sensations. I find a lot of the time it is not the spine itself that resists back bends. It's the pelvic girdle and the shoulder girdle that resist back bends. So we're really going to do a lot to coordinate with them this week and bring them on board. Go ahead and cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Reach away with that left knee and check and see if your pelvis is tipped one way or the other. Can you have both sides of the pelvis equally landing down as you're reaching that left knee away from you? Now we're coming back to those upper arm bones. Elbow through shoulder, heading down. Lift your butt up. Scoot your inner, so it's the drop the inner groins down. Scoot your tailbone long. Resettle the pelvis towards the floor. Feel that length. We want to keep that length with us as we inhale and lift up. And keep the lift as you exhale and settle down. So you can settle both sides of the pelvis down equally. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, settle down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, settle down. And then we'll have our little hold. Let's lift up, stretch through. You can stay right here. This is an interesting spot to be. Make sure your upper arm bones are working for you. Or you can take your left leg off of your right thigh and extend up. Make sure that you're not dripping your pelvis, that you've got equal line. Let's recross and lower down. Oi. And then settle the foot all the way to the floor and take a break. Coming back to your breath, coming back to that sense of filling up equally all the way through your inhale and emptying out equally all the way through your exhale. Right knee is going to come into the chest. Cross, we're going to cross as high as we can on the thighs. Okay, so we're going to bring this space up and over. And then we're going to drop both knees to the left. Make sure your right shoulder is staying down. Maybe your left hand touches your right knee to nudge it down towards the floor as you're talking your right shoulder down to the floor on the other side. Pull the inner thighs together to come on up. Release the right leg. Take your left leg up. Cross as high on the thighs as you can. All right, pulling the left leg all the way over to the right. And then we're going to keep the left shoulder down as we ease those knees towards the earth. Your right hand might come to your left knee. Just sort of nudge it towards the earth. If that doesn't feel good in your low back, then give it a miss, right? We don't want to tweak too much here. Keep the left shoulder grounding. Maybe your gaze goes over to the left as you're drawing your knees to the right. We're going to be working a little bit with Kirtan Kriya this week. It's a Kundalini meditation using a mantra, using Sata Nama. And so we're going to go into Shavasana a little bit early so that we can have a little bit more time for meditation. So let's bring the knees up, uncross, and then just see what other things your body might want. You might want to bring your knees in. You might want to go for a happy baby pose. You might need something else. Listen to the signals of your body before you release yourself all the way down into Shavasana. Letting yourself let go. Releasing the weight of your body into the floor. Releasing the weight of your expression from your face. Letting the breath move smoothly in and out of the nose. I'm inviting a sense of peace to really take up residency in your body. Every time we return to practice, every time we put ourselves through poses, we're building a little bit of this commitment towards ourselves. Every time we take that walk outside, we sit down to meditation, we're building that commitment. And this commitment in yoga is called tapas. And the Sanskrit word tapas is related to fire. But it's one of these ideals that we practice in yoga. This ideal towards ourselves that we are going to come into practice consistently so that we can feel the shifts in the body, so we can feel the shifts in our mind, our moods. We don't usually associate Shavasana with tapas, with this idea of fire and consistency, but it is here in the staying awake as we're practicing. It's that commitment to stay within the room we're in. And for some of us, that means having to really drive that intention to stay awake. And for some of us, that means really having to drive the intention to let go. So if you find yourself drifting towards sleep, seeing if you can stay conscious and relaxed. But if you're drifting off to other things, if you're now virtually shopping or reviewing what the rest of your day has, your form of tapas is to stay in this moment, is to come back to the feeling of the body relaxing on the floor. And embrace it. And you may have to do that return many, many times during a single Shavasana. Practice returning to yourself, whether it's returning to relaxation or returning to a sense of alertness, even while releasing. focus on the feeling of the air touching your skin. Change the way the air is moving in and out of your lungs. Go a little deeper with your inhale. Feel how your clothes are resting on your skin. Begin to make small movements in your fingers and in your toes. Circle in your wrists and in your ankles. Go the other way. Start to draw your knees into your chest. Hug in. Rub the soles of your feet and the palms of your hands together. Just to bring that conscious energy all the way into the farthest ends of the nervous system. And then re-hug the legs into the body. Roll to whichever side doesn't have any obstructions. Press down into your hands and ease yourself up to a seat. We are going to be seated for a little bit, so I recommend that you do sit on your towels or a nearby couch cushion or something. And I'm going to review the Kirtan Kriya. The Kirtan Kriya involves a series of mudras, a mantra, and a sound pattern. So the first part of the mantra and mudra we'll say in a normal voice, and it'll be sa, ta, na, ma. The second part we'll be saying in a whisper, and it's a forceful whisper. It's not so it'll be sa, ta, na, ma. And then the third part we go silent and we repeat the mantra on the inside. As we're going, we're also going to be touching our fingers together as we're saying sa, ta, na, ma. Sa is thumb and index finger. Sa, ta is middle finger and thumb. Ring finger and thumb are na, and pinky fingers and thumb are ma. It's infinity, life, death, rebirth. So we're chanting this cycle of regeneration that we are all going through all the time. The earth is going through, the planets are going through. So you want to be seated comfortably in your body. You can shift around, you can send your legs out, whichever way works for you. I tend to close the eyes and roll them to the third eye center just to create that little bit of intentionality into the glands of the brain. Okay? So we'll do about a minute aloud, a minute whispering, and then 2 minutes quiet. We'll come back to whispering, and then back, and then to full voice again, and we'll wrap it. So empty out, fill up. Sa, ta, na, ma. 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 Sa, ta, na, ma, 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 sa, ta, na, ma. Now we'll whisper. Sa, ta, na, ma, 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 sa, ta, sa, sa, ta. Go silent. Whisper. Sa, ta, sa, ta, sa, ta, sa, ta, sa, ta, sa, ta, sa, sa, full voice. Sa, ta, na, ma, 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 sa, ta, na, ma. Pause. Full breath in. Hold it in. Exhale, release it out. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. And bow your head. Take a moment to visualize what you want the rest of your day to feel like. Put a shell of intention and protection around your feeling. The light within me celebrates that same light within each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining us in practice today. I hope that you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow for a little bit more hip space into our back bends. All right. Be well, everybody.